I'm Trek with 2Ks. Come on. Hola, hola. Buenos dias, buenas noches, buenos tardes, GnGs. My name is Trek with 2Ks, and this is another Monday's Trek with 2Ks live. And so, yeah, this is where we are right now. Uh, 2-degree homework. Hey, listen, man. Shout outs to you. Yo, shout outs to you for doing this cool thing. What's going on Only Bitcoin? Um, what's up to everybody else who's probably gonna slow roll in? Look, yo, I swear, like I literally be sitting like trying to be on at like 8 or even like when I start looking at stuff at 7. Like I've been looking at stuff to like talk about since I think last Thursday. Because there was a couple of things as I've been like going through Twitter a little bit more, like I said, like I've been inching back into the social media space stuff. And yeah, like I've been looking at some things and it's like, oh yeah, this might be interesting. Like a couple of things that I got now to talk about were from like the 13th, but nonetheless, if you don't know, my name is Trek with 2Ks, and I do this thing where I talk about Twitter posts and the things that scratch my brain as it relates to crypto. I don't really, well, no, I have my tangents on when I can go into other things, and I might have some tangents today. If you know, you know. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. What's going on? Boom Bust. Hey, what's going on, sir? Boom Bust blog, Mr. AKA Reggie Middleton. You up late. And so, I go into the things that scratch my brain and what's going on in the space. I just realized if you hear me talk to directly like a certain name or anything, it isn't. If you're on the YouTube side, you can't see the folks that I believe are on the Twitter side. And so the vice versa of if you are on the Twitter side, you're not seeing the folks that are on the crypto side. Because like Bitcoin, Shango only Bitcoin, I'm posting your comment right now. And then Reggie, I'm about to post you. Yeah. So you can you be throwing me off, bro. You be throwing me off. But yeah, the basic idea, if you don't know, is I talk about the things in the crypto space that scratch my brain. I don't do price talk. I might make some mentions of things that are price adjacent, but it doesn't mean I'm telling you to go put your hard-earned money, capital, energy, attention into none of this stuff. I'm just at a point now where all I know about markets is that they go up and down like a roller coaster. That's all I know about this trading stuff. So yeah, do your own due diligence with that as you will. Nonetheless, I got a couple of things to get into, and the point that I was making, which is what it usually is I'll start looking at stuff and then I'll get caught up in like reading some other post on Twitter and then like running down into the thread or looking at something on YouTube and side eyeing that way. And then I finally get to like the collection of stuff. And I literally like put the post for YouTube together and the thumbnail all within X amount of minutes before I go live. Hence why sometimes you'll see the post on Twitter saying like, oh, going live in like 5 or 10 minutes. Because that's what's usually happening. But nonetheless, it's a couple of things to get into tonight. And yeah, we're gonna jump in. We're gonna jump in. So the first thing that had caught my attention, let me swap this picture. No. Yep, there we go. All right. So Woo Blockchain, I've been telling y'all this is one of the accounts that I have as a heavy follow. I stick with them more on the end of, when they talk about like industry things versus price movement stuff. If you follow the show, I don't talk about the price movement stuff they talk about. It's stuff like this. Arguably, there's a financial aspect to it. But I'm looking at it going, okay, so Bitfarm announces, I'm reading the actual tweet, y'all. Let me open this out a little bit more. So Bitfarms announced plans to wind down its Bitcoin mining operations over the next 2 years and convert its facilities into artificial intelligence and high performance computing data centers. The company said its 18 megawatt Bitcoin mining site in Washington, wait, hold on. In Washington will be the first to complete the transition by December 2026, fully dedicated to supporting AI and HPC operations. Following this announcement, Bitfarm shares fell 18%. That's a whatever. So in my mind, I see this and is that it takes 1 acre, no, not 1 acre. It takes 10 acres to do a mega one. What is it? 1 megawatt. So if I multiply the 10 acres by 18, it should be 180 acres of land. And then they're going to convert the facility. Yeah, that's a sizable space. In some people's circles, that much land is considered a small amount. Like, so I've been having conversations with folks since the eighth Bitcoin the Black Bitcoin blockchain that was in DC at Howard University, and I'm starting to get more of a conceptual like quantification of like space wise, resource wise, let I don't know if to say investment wise, but investment wise too, because even if you wanted to do um 1 megawatt, 10 acres, like the money raise is real, the money cost is real, but in terms of like this level of resource and like the development and the buildup, like 1.2 million is considered a small amount. It's considered chump change, y'all. Like dead ass, 1.2 million is considered chump change in these environments, in these circles of how are we developing out the future of AI. Like I said, I seen this and I was just like, that's it. That like considering how do I say this? Depending on what/who you're listening to and how you try to cross-reference the information to understand what's like going on in the new developing industry of AI and HPC, depending on which way you're trying to go about this. Are you trying to be the supplier of the energy? Are you trying to be the data center? Are you trying to be the one selling the axes and pixes, aka the servers and the silicon chips, like the server racks? Like, what part of this thing are you trying to fit into the space? Depending on where you're trying to fit in, the amount of capital you need is for the average Joe, like, oh my God, I wouldn't see that in my lifetime. Pardon me a second. Ooh. If I had to work the regular job, I wouldn't see that in a lifetime. And then you find out that there's certain incentives and stuff going on. So case in point, Trump came in, and the incentives that you used to get under the green energy stuff, they rolled that back to like where now it's only like 25 or 30% of the, not reimbursement, of the, what am I saying? It's not the subsidy. I don't think that's the word I'm thinking of. But the point being is that Trump really cut back on it. But they just brought one of the programs back in, like literally like this month. They just brought it in, like low key announcement, nothing major. If you in that particular space, you know what's up. So it makes me wonder if what Bitfarms is doing is the bigger long run play. And I heard a I don't know if to call this a theory. As CB used to say, shout outs to my boy Crypto Blood. You have the conspiracy theory that eventually becomes a conspiracy fact, right? And in relation to this whole AI and a data center movement, you have the one part that goes, hey, we don't have the infrastructure built out, but you have a technocratic tech bro government dynamic going on that is like full steam ahead. We have to develop this stuff out. But some people are throwing out the thought of, hey, this can't all be just about like building this up for tech. Like Meta's only gonna do but so much. Google's only gonna do but so much. Why do we need this much data processing? Some of the conspiracy, or at least one of the conspiracies I recently heard, is that it's more about the marketing and watching the people. So what do they call that? What do they call it? Something capitalism. And there's a lady who wrote a book on it, and I can't remember the book right now. But the point being is that, is this going to be a good play? And, or how do I say this? If this company does it, how long before another company does it? Like the second and the third company does it. I don't know who the second and the third company is going to be. And I don't even know if Bitfarms is like publicly traded or they're a private company. But I am curious on, is this an indicator of for the crypto space of a switching of like a core part of the crypto space, the mining side of it? So like if we see more big name data, like crypto mining facility companies go, okay, we about to, make this left turn and get over into like the AI HPC side of it. Never mind on the crypto stuff for the mining stuff. We switching over this way. What does that mean for the mom and pop, the mid-size, small, basement garage miners? Does that mean there's going to be a whole, I got somebody I got to ask about this question now. Now that I just thought about this, there is somebody that I need to call up tomorrow and ask this question to. But does that mean we're going to see a dump of miners in the market like at the summertime, midpoint of 2026? I don't know. I think for right now, my thought process is, this doesn't count as a indicator, but it is a question mark. If at least two more other companies say something and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to do it to turnover in 26, I guess the writing's on the wall. Like, we're going to lose something. You know what? Let me. I don't know how to rephrase this to where it'll make sense for like kind of how it's jumbling around in my head. Arguably, Bitcoin in particular wasn't meant to be a let's get the Wall Street folks into it, right? At least that's the old school ideals that were thrown out to us, right? Back in the day, back when, right? If you're a crypto unk or auntie, you understand what I'm saying. So if X amount of the more capital driven, big business Wall Street daddy type folks start exiting the crypto back end side, would that be a good thing for the space? I don't know, especially considering where things are now in regards to how pools and like mining pools work. Is this a sign that like, yo, what, a couple double digit million, there's it's like less than 5 million or less than 3 million Bitcoin that are left to be mined, and then when you take out of circulation or take out of account what's on like the old school origin, like the OG wallets, like Satoshi's wallets and stuff like that, but we're talking like less than 3 million left. I think we might be closer to 2. So, like, is this an indicator that big level miners are looking at this particular part of the crypto industry going, okay, we have extracted as much capital as we can from this, time to move on to the next thing? And considering how mining facilities are set up, which is not too far off, what's going on 3D, to actual data centers in terms of the infrastructure layout, I wonder how much that costs, like as a convert over thing. Like, does it make sense? And apparently, whoever they had crunching the numbers, whoever was in the discussions, however they're figuring out what are going to be the financial incentives to make that crossover, somebody's saying the maths. I'm not 100% certain, but I got somebody that I'm going to ask about this. I'm going to try to do that this week because I'm curious if this is just a one-off or is this an early indicator. Anywho, theories and theories, right? Jumping up to his next one. Oh, by the way, some of these things I'm gonna like dig in on. I'm gonna beat them a little bit, and then some of them I'm gonna just like mention and just roll on through. So yeah. GPU monitor. Wait, what are you saying, bro? Hold up. Where's my mouse? There we go. Many GPU miners switch to alts and then AI, and now it's not as profitable. So now they not sure what. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, yo, I was running the numbers because I was thinking about trying to figure out how to do this. If you want to try, and it also depends on what state you in, just for like what the numbers look like on the energy cost side, right? As far as the kilowatts and stuff go. Cause like, and then this is also on the like, are you doing a higher end miner like a SJ, what is that? The SJ or the S19J, yeah, Pro, which does something like 3,000 something kilowatts a week or something like that. I'm bad at the numbers, but if you wanted to try to do the joint on like a solar basis, 24 hours, you need, depending on the type of panels you get, you're talking anywhere from like 40 plus panels. And panels are like what, a 5x6 or a 4x5 or something like that. Like, you're not just throwing this up in your backyard. And then if you're doing it where it's panels with the battery storage, that's what is it? Chips are being, yeah, the numbers are crazy. Like when I tell you the numbers are crazy, Well, if you're trying to do it that level miner, and I'm talking about just one miner, um, 24-hour operation plus battery storage, the numbers are up there if you're trying to do it on some like garage level, basement level, mom and pop business. Um, so you have to definitely come up with some creative ways. Like, this is one dude I came across on YouTube where he's taken like not old, but the electric Ford Focuses, and he's taking the batteries out of those and using those in some DIY level configuration that he's using as his storage. And he's doing a couple other things too that are pretty interesting. Like, I recently just discovered his channel. Can't remember the guy's name right now. I wish I'd have thought about this earlier so I could like actually say the channel's name for those of you who are interested on that more technical side of things. But yeah, it's ooh, what BitX and small version miners because it's actually affordable. Yeah, but that's one of those going like who made this point? Andreas Antonopoulos, I think, made this point years ago. This is, I want to say, before C19. He was making this point about how we talk of like, I don't know how many of y'all remember when there was like the whole thing of like, oh, well, you got to have the latest and greatest, like, minor, because if not, then you're never gonna get a reward. You're never gonna win. One of the basically, you're not gonna get any Bitcoin if you didn't upgrade your mining hardware. And to something that 3D has said to me a while ago, with how he understands the stuff too, it's like you can use the old stuff because the old stuff still functions. It's just the odds of you getting like, oh, I'm gonna win, 7 days of the week versus the like, okay, I'll at least get something every third or fourth day, depending on like how quote old your version of a miner is. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff still works. Like 3D's made the point about cell phones. You can still do things on cell phones. It's not going to be the same numbers as you running up against a mining pool that's filled with like all like the last, let's say, 3 years of the newest ant miners, but like you'll get stuff. Like you're adding up at the stats level, right? But most people don't understand that, which, funny enough, is the same thing. There's another dude that I just recently came across on YouTube. It's the same thing. He was making this point that's being talked about with the whole AI thing, where it's like, oh, well, you got to have the newest chipset. And then the way that they're arguing this stuff out now with like the is it the AMD, NVIDIA and stuff, is, well, this stuff only is going to be good for like a year. So every year we have to keep adding it up. And he's just like, yo, that makes literally no sense for how the technology works. Like, on average, you'll get a good 5, a little bit, another year or two run out of whatever that new system is. Because literally you can rent out compute space on certain platforms right now. And if you look at the systems or the technology that they're charging you for to rent out, this is stuff that's more than 5 years old. So it goes to show like there's like this artificial level of it has to be the new when like technically it doesn't. You got non-technical people telling you how to do technical things and how the industry should run and be invested in at a technical level when they are not nowhere near technically, like what they're saying is not technically sound. It's not based on the actual technology. And I just put that together, that it's the same thing being played in the AI space right now. There's the push of it has to be the new. But this is like, does it? Technically, no. And then I'll give you another example of something that makes what I'm saying make sense. If you look at how the Chinese startup companies like what is it, Quan, which is QWEN, what's the other one, DeepSeek, there's a bunch of Chinese startups that are dealing with the whole LLM, AI, compute, blah 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 space, right? So here you have it that us over here, across the well, not the pond, because we can say the pond when we talk about towards Europe, but across the ocean, right? Our administration goes, y'all can't have the top tier chips. Now we're not even going to give you the second tier chips. So here you have it that they're still developing in leaps and bounds in their AI development using the third and fourth tier level chips, using the older stuff. Why? Because they realize, to the point that I'm making, even though it may not be the quote new, if I tweak the programming, the software, the task, or like the focus of what this tech stack is supposed to do, I get near new level technology based results. I don't need it to do 101 things. I just needed to do this 1 to 3 things. If I really want it to be top tier, I just let it focus on the one thing. And even though the tech stack itself isn't the new, I'm still getting new near results. So imagine what happens when I get near new tech stack. What happens when I figure out how to make my own? Like, this is definitely one of the things that like I'm paying attention to, and I'm not like reading in on white papers and stuff like that, but like I'm paying attention to it, and the way that this AI race is looking, it ain't looking like we about to be Flojo, y'all. Not at all. But nonetheless, I'm going off in my own tangent things, whatever. So yeah, according to Bloomberg, the U.S. Financial Accounting Standards Board, which is FABS, is discussing whether to add accounting for crypto asset traders to its technical agenda. The discussion includes potentially expanding the scope of the 2023 crypto accounting standards, clarifying derecognition guidance for crypto asset transfers according or addressing both. And at this point, like they say they're discussing it, but you would think, who that? Salute, Chief. Hey, what's going on, Yosef? Um, so what was I saying? For this, it's just like, well, it would only make sense because if y'all are about to really push the stablecoin thing in the way that y'all are talking about pushing it, and it's gonna be going through the commercial level, it only makes sense that you got to add more guidance on the accounting side of it. At least that's how it's picturing in my head, right? In my mind, IMM, that's how it's picturing in my mind. That if you're saying we're talking about it, but we're like friggin' 10 toes down on pushing stable coins to connect with the Treasury Department T-bonds, and then Trump is doing what he's doing, and then who was it that oh, I got another story. SOFI is talking. If you know who SoFi is, they were like the major investors into WeWorks. They're talking about becoming a CEX, a CEX, so centralized exchange. There's definitely this forward movement to bring crypto into a more mainstream fold in terms of TradFi. In my mind, if that is what we are seeing play out in front of us, especially here in the States, then this is not a, hey, we're thinking about it. It's more of a, hey, heads up, this is eventually going to be a thing. So folks need to start working on how they're going to make their adjustments and how they're doing their accounting. We're going to give more guidance. That's my takeaway on this particular post. This is a heads up to like the Wall Street level commercial side of businesses that are about to really start playing in the crypto space in a more public. I say public with like rabbit ears, okay? Public, I say it with rabbit ears, for quote proper accounting. That's at least my takeaway on that one. I'm also still trying to think right now of what my takeaway is going to be for what I write about in like tomorrow, and I think I'm gonna run with the Bitfarm thing, unless I say something else that totally like knocks that out the park. I don't know just yet. I don't know. Oh, this joint. Okay, I forgot who I seen that posted this. Okay, it was Simone Bees. Okay, so there is a video of Andrew Tate talking about how um I bet they are moving fast out there. But yeah, there's a video of Andrew Tate talking about, if you don't know who Andrew Tate is, he's like one of the original OG red pill guys for how people's memories and timelines are. He's like the OG red pill guy. But nonetheless, he goes into this whole thing and talking about how in the next like X number of years, the government is going to use not going to, is currently using AI to go through all of the blockchains that they can go to, scan, track, trace, do all of that fun stuff. And so in like 3 years, so I think he said 3 years, but like towards the end of this administration, if not in the next administration, things that you did, especially as it relates to the IRS and things that work out in that realm, they will have the AI do, or they are having the AI do all of the heavy lifting, so that down the road they're gonna come back on folks and be like, hey, we have a wallet address that has you connected to blah 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 blah. Hey, so yeah, yo, and so here's now. Originally, when I tagged this, right, when I bookmarked it, and I'm like, all right, I'll bring this up because I've heard the argument before. Like this is it. He's not saying anything new. He's not saying anything new. And it's not a matter of, oh, this is a thing to target crypto people. This isn't IMM, in my mind, this is not a quote crypto target people thing. This is in particular for the states. We are in the economic turmoil that we're in. And at least for how I understand things, it's not like we going up the roller coaster. We're on a very slow Romanesque decline. And so when you have things like that happen within a government, it usually happens that they start trying to find every which way to diamond nickel out their society. It's a slow roll though. Like it's a slow roll. It doesn't happen in 2 years. It's not 5 years. It's not a 10-year thing. It is a slow roll. But there's little incremental things that happen within the legislation, within the development of the society, within the development of the technology, and all of these things combine to just start eating that society from the inside out. I know there's a pause in there somewhere, but it is what it is. And so his what he's talking about in this is not new. It's definitely something other people have brought up. It's definitely something, if you look at even just at your state level, even at your county level, like how many new type of fines or taxes or how many new speed cameras do you have now in your area? How about that? How many new speed cameras do you have in where, like, especially if you're somebody who has to take the expressway. So wait, in regards to that FASB thing, the basic idea is they're gonna check you through your PII because but I all see. All right, bet Yosef, same thing. I was kind of wondering the same thing in terms of how does that work. And I'm gonna jump back to, because even the same thing with Tate here, like it's a matter of they may not be able to get the clear connection now, right? Okay, so this person has an account, and let's say you cashed out, you, because it's always when you touch the fiat, that's where you get messed up at. It's when you touch the fiat. There's that it only takes you one time to touch the fiat somewhere within the system, whether you're here on the state side or you're overseas someplace. Doesn't even matter that it's not the USD. You touched a fiat. That's all it takes. And it just takes that one connection. And as we all know, 8 times out of 10, most people do not practice what would be considered proper or the most like discreet digital and financial privacy. And then the way that the system works, unless like you're really taking certain steps, you you're leaving markers that have connections. Hence where this whole the AI thing comes into play. Again, I like, to his point, like it isn't a matter of like, oh, they're gonna come knocking on your door today. It And with the way that the US works, they could knock on your door 5-7 years from now. Be like, yeah, back in 2009, you blah blah blah. And you just like, what? Like, I don't even remember what 2000. It'd be like 2038. They talking to you about 2009. You did X, Y, and Z with Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency. But to the bigger point, I don't think this is specifically a crypto thing. I think it's more of a, this is everyone who, how do I say this? Here, okay, I'm throwing in my conspiracy theory. I'm throwing in my conspiracy theory. My conspiracy theory is this: the target of capital extraction from the public using AI to do the heavy lifting to connect all of the dots will then get into um categorizing the how likely, or grouping people in the how likely are we to get this money, this capital from these individuals. So case in point, if you're the average Joe and it's like, oh, well, you messed up and we realized that you owe like $500. All right, $500, every $500 count, right? As they say, every penny counts. But you're already in debt or you already got other financial things going on, but the government said this to you. So like 9 times out of 10, you're going to acquiesce, right? But then as you start to move up the economic ladder, if you're somebody who's in the 6-figure range, if you're in the low 6-figure range, the low 6-figure range today don't mean what it meant 20 years ago, right? So now Imagine you get a letter from the government saying, the IRS in particular, hey, you owe blah, blah, blah the money. It shows that in this year and this year and this year, you did X, Y, and Z. And again, this isn't a crypto thing. This is just we were able to rerun the numbers and we were able to connect some other bits of information for your financial activity that took place in the US and outside of the US. Because if you go to another country, you have to do some level of identification, right? You got to do something on the digital side, depending on where you are, to be able to like financially transact in that environment that you're in. So there's going to be digital markers. Again, in my mind, this isn't about the just crypto folks. This is just about US citizens, period. Like, yo, the other day I found out that if you go for your what is it this called? Oh god, I can't remember the name for the thing. But my people across the way, the mind them over there, if you have your US citizenship, but you're like dual citizenship and you also have an American citizenship, UK citizens get this thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the government is like, here's like $100. If you still have your US citizenship, the government taxes you on that. I said, wait, what? What? It's not even our government, and we're taxing our citizens getting funds from another government. Even though like they moved out of the country, they just didn't rescind their American citizenship. They're fully over there in the UK doing what they do. They still got to pay the tax over here. So to my bigger thing of, I don't think what Andrew Tate is saying is new. And also shout out to my guy CJ, that's my CPA, and that also gave me a level of like, I'm taking this as valid. Cause granted, the way CJ said it was like, yeah, you know what you're saying, it's there, but I wouldn't say it exactly how you're saying it. CJ knows what he knows. CJ is a crypto focused CPA guy, and he's international. So I'm taking his lead on this. But yeah, just the things that we think now are like, oh, I can do X, Y, and Z. It's what is it? Okay, wait. When I was young in the green suit game, there was a general officer territory only. 100K ain't what it back. Just what I said, bro. Just what I said. Yeah, like I was watching something on YouTube the other day and somebody said it, and I was like, wait, what? You were a whole different citizen? You ain't been here in years and you still paying a tax from what? We treacherous, man. Like at the gang. We don't care. And there's only a handful of countries that like operate like this. You know, I'm not even gonna run down that rabbit hole. What was the other thing I wanted to show? What was there? Wait, a Palantir. Oh, listen. I tagged that Palantir thing about the cyber attack because I have, again, I got a number of not crypto. I got a number of conspiracy theories running around my head. And the Palantir thing definitely had me like, wait, what? Like, this just happened to come out now? There's I give them maximum 12 months. Maximum 12 months before they come out with a product, and they'll push it to the US first, but like 8 times out of 10, it'll be European countries. They might do a Israel thing, even though Israel already has its own high-tech business going on. When you know what? Yeah, I'm going off topic. I'm going off topic. Sorry, y'all. And I'm trying to rein myself back in. But yeah, that Palantir story. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me jump over here real quick because I did actually bookmark this. Yeah. What is it? Comment above where the thought started. Yeah, 100K now is like a E8 assigned to Japan and Hawaii, meaning what? It's attainable. Yeah, yeah. Ha, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, so let me jump back one. Oh shoot. Hold up. Did you do it? You did. Damn it. I messed that up. Oh, I messed it up. Uh, all right. So if you don't know, Palantir is this. I don't even want to say technology company because Palantir has a thing to them that reminds me of Northern Grumman, um, where they do stuff. It's techie, but like it's in this different level thing of techie, and they also do these like big think things that are like think tankish. So nonetheless, and they don't like to be called defense contractors. Ever talk to a Palantir employee at a job conference, at a job fair? They don't like to be called defense contractors. I forgot what the word was the dude said to me. And I was like, oh, so like he was breaking down something to me. I was like, oh, so like defense contractor. And he was like, oh, no, we're not defense contractors. We're da 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 da. And I was just like, really? Like, okay, that's we're playing word games now. In my mind, I said all of this. I didn't say this out loud to him, but it was one of those like, oh, that's what we're doing. All right, whatever. Yeah. So if you don't know, basically Palantir, um, all right. Sorry, no, my bad. Wait, Anthropic, which is Claude, I believe. Anthropic, which is Claude. Um, and I mixed up some things. My bad. Let me make these distinctions right now. Palantir is this interesting kind of spooky high tech company. And then you have Anthropic. Anthropic is the company behind Claude, which is a LLM, aka it is a AI. And they put out a report saying that they have witnessed and have collected evidence around a bad actor, which is being directed. The label is being directed at China connected players, bad actors that they executed. Was it China or was it South Korea or North Korea? It was one of the Asian countries, one of those two. Nonetheless, they're like, hey, this is us witnessing someone using AI in a more full scope hacker um attack. And we didn't think that this would happen the way it happened because they've really figured out how to get around all of the safeguards. And it's like on the techie side, if you're into the tech stuff and learning about like the coding and the LLM stuff and like the whole like red hat blue hat thing, or like sorry red hat white hat black hat, that stuff, like it runs deep. And arguably this goes into a whole nother thing of like, you know, we talk about like quantum computing and like, oh my god, quantum computing is like right there. And you know what happens when China brings out their quantum computing first, and then they're gonna steal all the Bitcoin from America. And it's just like, yo, when quantum computing happens, like there is way more other things to worry about than any form of money that is digital. Point blank. Arguably, it's the same thing in this realm where it's like, oh, you're gonna have all these bad state actors, and they're gonna be using crypto to do these, you know, hacker things and stealing people's money and blah 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 blah. And this is like, I mean, arguably, this was already like on the roadmap because if you've ever really paid attention to anything about how technology works, it's always a cat and mouse game when it comes to like the good guys versus the bad guys, right? We're not even gonna get into who's labeling who what. I'm just in general talking about like the technology moves, especially in this realm of like security. It moves in a cat and mouse game. And in today's age of it, especially for at like governmental nation state actor level, well, it's not bad if we do this thing, but it's bad when those people over there do that thing. You know what I'm saying? So like, wait, what happened? I think that we all hit that 44 fake dust crypto thing. Even though we've been in the space since 2013, it's a lot of changes. Listen, changes since, bruh, when I got a couple years on you, and I be saying this all the time. Like, I just be looking at the space, feeling dumb, old, and fucking frustrated. Cause this is like, yo, this like, we know the technology works, but other people are putting things in forcing things into the space to dumb down the technology to move your level of access to the base layer, and then telling you it's for your betterment. They're amplifying the crypto space in terms of putting up more gate guards and quote safety mechanisms. And it's just like, but we know the technology works without all of that other shit that you added in. Why are we doing this? Because people like to have control. People don't like to, lose their position in what who said this thing about like, if you can control people's money, you can control the world or something like that. I don't it might have been Kissinger or one of them. It's somebody in that range of people. But anywho, yeah, so this thing with Anthropic happened. I feel like they're going to end up putting out a product within like the next 15 months, 12 months, probably in that more of a window, because the technology thing really does play in a cat and mouse game. And things are developing way faster. I honestly don't know if I'm gonna make all of these stories today. I'm just gonna try to. I'm not gonna speed through, but I'm gonna move a little bit more. What was this one about? Oh, okay. So I forgot who originally posted this because I seen it on somebody else thing and then I went into it. But all right, all right. So decentralized. Post goes, there are really actual humans on this planet arguing that Zcash has better privacy than anything else. Period. New sentence. It does not. Period. Full stop. Mixing Bitcoin is more private at scale than Zcash is. What is that? 100,000 times X. Privacy is a numbers game, and only a numbers game, and only a numbers game. There is no perfect software that will hide you from future software, aka the thing that Andrew Tate was talking about. You just do not understand this because you do not understand many things on this earth. Oh yeah, he was responding to somebody. That's what it was. Accept it. The only privacy that is making it costly to find the only privacy is making it costly to find everyone, making them earn the data, make them pay for it. Then you can have some privacy. Your shielded address does nothing for you, Anon. You are still KYCing using an IP address, signed up for 100 services, and you are anything but private. To the point that I was making earlier, 9 times out of 10, most people do not do things that are in a more discreet digital private practice. Between the IP addresses, between not using certain VPNs, between using certain VPNs that blatantly tell you, yo, we collect logs, we collect IP addresses, and all it takes is one email letter and we hand everything over. And don't forget, you got some of these joints that are shell companies. They're straight up shell companies. Literally, law enforcement at the federal level will set up shell companies to then have people use it because it mixes in with the funny business that they doing. But they collecting your shit too. Like, it's wild. It's wild. This is the world we live in. And that's what I'm talking about with like the whole cat and mouse thing. It's like, it's cool when we do it, but it's not cool when someone else does it. Hence, we label them bad actors. You know? Wait, hold on. I'm trying to move over to you and wait, what did you say? And 2013, 2016, it was all about we the people. Bro, literally be saying this all the time about the ideals of back in the day are not the ideals of today. Those of us who were around in the earlier days of like the 2012s and stuff, we are the minority right now in our thought process. As we move through this quote maturing of crypto, we become the minority more and more because X amount of the folks coming into this joint now, they just trying to chase this bag. Like, economic state is what it is. People be like, all right, privacy is cool. I hear you, but I need to get this bag right now. I got to pay these bills. My insurance for my car and the car note together might be damn near $1,000. Over here in the States, people talking about their insurance going up. Like, we just had the situation where and shout outs to all of my federales, and I say federales in terms of people who are employed or on furlough from the federal government. I don't mean federales like in Mexico and like, you know, Panama and stuff. I'm just saying federales in terms of I'm doing a play on word for federal employees, okay? But like, I imagine there's going to be a number of people who are going to drop their insurance because some of the price increases don't make sense. I imagine that there are some people who are questioning um um uh this extension that they did until January. I was literally talking to a homeboy today about how like we could be back here in 60 something 70 something days. Yeah, 60 something days, because it's December and January, and then yeah, we halfway through the month, so about 70 something days, right? And we could be back here again, and they can go longer than 43 days. Like, they can go longer than 43 days because they know they can at least make it up to 43 days, and the public ain't gonna do shit. The elected officials are playing in our faces, and at the end of the day, they know they could at least run for another 43 days, and the public won't do shit. And I know some folks are like, oh yeah, midterms election 2026, da, 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 da. And it's like, yeah, but at that point, by the time the election come around, you're already financially messed up. You already got people who's messed up from last year's stuff with Biden. Now, eat like, you know what? Let me just reel myself back in, push on to the next thing. Y'all need to stop letting me like fucking rile myself up. Yeah, the effort. Pardon. The thing with Sam Bankman-Fried, and I'm gonna still say the same thing. The rules that he broke, the financial rules that he broke, those are already things on the books. You ain't need to add no new crypto shit. If you read the charges, it's already things that are on the books for what he did. He was breaking the rules that already existed. They didn't need to do no rules or say anything additional about crypto this, crypto that. Just saying. Where am I going next? Yeah, but to this point, in regards to what decentralized was talking about, yes. When it comes to the privacy thing, as far as on the tech side of it, it is a numbers game. If you only have one or two people doing it, in terms of the data, those people are easier to filter out or target, because they're the anomalies in how you see the data traffic moving, right? So they're easier to catch on to. And then if you look at, and something I recently found out was how, what, like, some, well, if not all of the banks right now, they're integrating more AI, like look and like catch the patterns and things within how people's financial activity is moving. So like, let's say you pay your bill like more than 10 days ahead of time, right? Let's say you pay through your checking account or whatever account, you pay your stuff more than like 5 days before it's due. And you've been doing this for like, let's say 2 years, 3 years. And then all of a sudden you go to like 2 days before, and then like you might do the day before. On the back end, the system notices that and then flags your account into a category of like, oh, something has changed with this person's financial behavior. There may be something going on, which then plays into the whole thing about credit and like folks who are trying to do certain things on the credit side. It's like, oh, well, you don't seem as secure as you used to seem 3-6 months back. Your financial behavior has changed, and so now we don't think we might want to give you that $1,000 or that $10,000. You might only be good for $5,000 or like $500. We don't really care that your credit score, if you notice that now, the credit score thing don't matter the way it did, because the bigger integration of the AI looking into your financial, or how do I say this? Examining your financial behavior for how you spend, when you spend, what you're spending on, what type of financial instruments are you using, and then going, oh, okay, well, this person's pattern is this. They spend this way discretionarily, or like they deal with saving this amount, but they take care of the bills. And I'm not using the right words for it, but the bottom line is the stuff is being more data mined in a more real-time sense. And it was, yo, all right, what did I see the other day that had me put this shit together? I don't know if y'all have heard about that whole like is it real-time pricing or like individual pricing, where like if if I look on my computer to find a price for something and I'm on my IP address, right? And let's say you then use your computer to look for something the next day on a different IP address, based on certain online activities, it's just like, oh, well, I'm only okay with paying, let's say, $100 for something, and then you're okay to pay $120 for something. What's the word I'm looking for? Not modular. Is it modular? Granule. Okay, bet. The granule pricing of targeting the individual based on how the system understands your financial activity. That's the stuff that we're moving in on. Oh, if you, especially if you really push it, everything where like you're doing it all online and you're doing tap and go pay, and like you don't use cash like that, and like, the way purchasing is going to look in like, let's say 5 to 10 years. I don't know how long that model is gonna last, but I think we're gonna get a good run of it. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I do think we're gonna get a good run of it. Oh, you want to go fly to such and such? I bet $250. Wait, but my homegirl bought the ticket and hers was only $195. According to the system, according to how the algos read your financial stuff, you can afford that $250. I'm not saying any hard numbers, but like that's the direction that we moving in. Because you know, it's also funny when you I'm trying to think of uh damn, yo, 3D, we talked about the damn movie too. Ah, what is the name of the damn movie right now? I cannot remember the name of the movie. Damn it. All right, I'm putting the comments up, y'all. But the bottom line is there's more integration into the AI stuff day for day. And most folks don't get how it's in the background, stitching the pieces, connecting the dots together that relate to your digital footprint, and how this will play into marketing towards you in the future, or like moving the needle of your opinion or stance on something. There was shout outs to Rick Dudley. I forgot the post that he made, and I responded with like, honestly, the more I think about it, I really start to agree with the statement of like, spells, words cast spells. Meaning, when you look at how it seems nice. Wait, who? Going to Thailand. Why? Since seems nice. And then I was watching from a distance to see what America. I was thinking about going to that. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice for sure to be out there. That weather, you can't beat it. Except for like when it's in like the monsoon, like the rainy season is funny out there because the way it rained is different. So that's a comment about Thailand to Yosef. But where was I going? Words cast spells. Uneducated economist talks about it all the time when he talks about the Treasury and the Federal Reserve, and how when they give those public speeches and their reports, and when what's his name goes on in front of the camera and he talks, like they're using the words to control the markets and the influence of getting the market to do things to where like there's no guarantee about hitting 2% inflation. It's more of a, this is the suggestion of the target number we would like to be at, but there's no surefire perfect, you know, if we do X, Y, and Z, it will always equal 2%. It's all about being able to say the right things to get the market to do X, Y, and Z stuff, which then goes into the whole thing of like, when it comes to political campaigns and the person running or the person incumbent will say things that are like, hey, I'm saying the things that matter to you because I want you to know that you matter to me. And then it's like when they get into office, or once they get past being able to hold their position, all of the shit that they were saying on the trail, that's done. That's out the window. That's like, yo, move on to the next. Like, yo, I'm here now. Oh, I said what? I don't remember saying that. I didn't say that. Like, that's literally, you know, where things are in terms of using words to cast spells on the masses. Like, look at the things that Trump said on the run up to make it into the Oval Office, and people was behind him. The Asians, the Latinos, X amount of the blacks. We already know about the melanated folks, right? On him. Yeah. Look where we at 9 months later. Look where we at. You said blah. It's like that meme with the lady pointing and yelling at the cat, and then the cat is like, no, I said da da da. Like, that's what's going on right now. Everybody yelling at Trump. You said blah, blah, blah. He used the words to cast a spell on his voting block, let's say. And then lo and behold, there was nothing to hold him accountable to it. There was nothing that makes it or made it that he was going to carry through on any of those things, or the things that he is carrying through on would not have negative repercussions on them. Case in point with the tariffs. Case in point in what we see going on with the ICE raids. Like the first thing that got me when that stuff really started kicking off was like, yo, you're not just like randomly finding people outside. You're going to job sites. Like, eventually, this is going to mess with the economy. There's no way you can go to job sites and shuffle up or cause enough chaos for X amount of the workforce and it not eventually mess with the local economy. And then you keep doing it long enough, it messes with a larger impact within that area. So at the state level, which eventually at some point trickles up to the federal level, right? Wait, what? What have you done before? Yeah, to my point of what I was saying about that whole price thing, like that price differential stuff. Like it they definitely putting in the AI to do it to people. Yeah, it is a thing. Oh, it was the one about the kid who was trying to beat the game, and it was in the VR world, and the guy like put himself in the game, and I can't even remember what my point was about that movie right now. Oh, okay, bet. So, there's the movie version, and then there's the book version, and the movie like mentions it a little bit. No, it wasn't Blade Runner. World of Magic. No, it wasn't Magic. It was the kid and like the stepmom and the mom and the stepdad was like all messed up to him, and they lived in like those tower trailers. Um, God, why can't I remember the name of the damn movie right now? Ha, that's funny. Yeah, that too. Um, I can't think of it. It's not words. Yeah, words are magic. Yes. Um, where was I going? I can't remember right now, y'all. I distracted my damn self. So Vitalik to this post talks about Vitalik Buterin showcases Kohaku privacy framework at DEF CON, advanced by the Ethereum Foundation. The open source efforts provides modular on-chain privacy and security. What is it? Primitive. Let me see where it goes. Right. Why are you not opening? Okay, there we go. With current components integrating protocols such as Railgun and privacy pools, Kohaku is designed to support opt-in privacy for Ethereum connected wallets and is exploring potential additions including mixnets and ZK enabled browsers. Okay, so if it's opt-in, that means like that's not a default thing then, no? Am I misunderstanding that? It's not a default that you would have the privacy part to it. I don't know. I didn't read enough into this to like figure out the where's the poking the hole thing for me. Somebody else might make a comment or something to say different of or highlight that yes, here's the hole in the issue. Because I already have a whole issue with ZK snarf and how that stuff works. But I don't want to get in too far on a tangent on the technical shit, especially when I haven't looked at any of the new developments in a good while. This had me crying. So, Watch Your Guru, another one of the accounts I pay attention to. That is true. Yes, Ready Player One. Thank you, Yusef. I appreciate. It's Ready Player One. in that movie, part of the reason why in the movie, the reason why the villain wanted to get the coin to win access to that virtual world was because they wanted to be able. Oh man, hold on. Let me do this real quick because I see how that's messing up. Yeah, there we go. Anytime you make around IoT devices, yeah, the IoT device too. But like again, the whole thing with that was about the marketing, and everything is like, how do we sell as much as we can to people, even though we're not able to like guarantee that they're gonna buy. It's still that you have the companies who want to be able to guarantee their marketing space, which is like the other crazy irony of no matter what the where the people are financially, you still want to have them buy something that 8 times out of 10 or 7 times out of 10 they don't actually need. It's a luxury or a want more than it is a need, right? What was the other one? The English language is, yes, spell words. That's a good one. Point is the SDR. The legal terminology has a whole different language. Yo, that's a crazy thing in regards to legalese. Legalese is a whole different language, man. Wait, what was that? Wait, what? Out here in San Francisco, Cali, they are canceling all illegal immigrants' Class A, Class B licenses. Wow. I thought Noonan was like, yo, like Cali's like the friend for immigrants, like or quote undocumented. That's another thing about like that whole like labeling. And I don't know if any of y'all pay attention to Eli the computer guy, but he was making a point, and he's made this point a number of times about words and how we label and categorize things in terms of saying like a homeless person versus to a, what do they call, there's a new phrase that they use for like um where you don't have a house or you don't have a place to call quote home. It's not conditional. Chronic homelessness or chronic unstable, what is it, unstable, like I've heard the phrase unstable housing, and it's like chronic something, and then there's like the old school phrase of, oh, you're just homeless. But like we get into this whole thing of the word games of the how, how are we using words to influence people's understanding of what this thing is that's being presented to them. And he was making the point about how, I forgot the company, Foxtrot, which is overseas company. They're the article was subcaption, they hired X amount of was it robots or something, but they used the word hired in place of they employed, they deployed, they integrated, like they could have used a whole bunch of other words, but they use the word hire. Mind you, they're downsizing their human labor force, but they're implementing X amount of robots into the system. Which, something else that I thought that was interesting. Yo, Eli's another good one for like um the the history stuff, like the thing of like, I remember blah 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 in like 1998 or like back in the day of 1995. He's been in the tech space for like over, I think, 25-30 years or something, or he's at about 30 years or something at this point. But he was talking today about how, and I'm a swing back around to this whole thing with the Trump tariff. Well, sorry, I call it the Peter to pay Paul money, and I'm gonna get into that in a minute. But like, he was talking about how if here we are having this whole thing of companies downsizing, and the the public secret that is known on the industry side is we're downsizing to save money on the overhead and the bottom line, and then we're looking to reinvest it and trying to find some way to make a use case of AI within whatever our business model is, whatever the hell it is we do. So whether we're talking Geico insurance company to Foxtrot to Microsoft to the Ben and Jerry's, everyone's now on their new wave of trying to figure out how to integrate AI LLMs into their vertical. But when we get into the part of like robots, we're labeling we're in this weird area of how do people, live regular human being people, feel when you start saying that these non-human things are taking their job. Because when you break down robots, technically a dishwasher is a robot of a type and it does a very specific function. But if I made it as a android and it looked more humanoid like, I go, well, damn, the dishwasher robot at the diner took the job from Mark, who's been there for like 5 years, and they let him go because he got sick and couldn't make it in one day. Now he got replaced. But he made the point of how in the US, we're in this weird area of, at a certain point within, like, I think it was the 80s or the might have been the 70s, we stopped developing robotics in terms of our commercial level stuff because the numbers didn't make sense for how we were looking at getting the money is the short of it, getting the bag, as opposed to what was going on overseas, in particular in China, in particular in Japan, in particular in the Asian region, right? As they call it now, the South, what is it? The South Asia or the majority South. And so like we kind of stepped out of the game when it came to robotics, but now here we are trying to come back full throttle, and we're trying to do it in a compressed period of time. And then we're also telling like people that this is for their betterment. Where it's just like, but I'm losing my job, but I still have to figure out how to, make it to retirement, or I have to figure out how to, well, I can't even retire anymore. Like, I'm so off tangent right now. I'm gonna make a hard, abrupt left. But y'all get where I'm going. Like, well, maybe y'all get where I'm going. At least a handful of y'all get where I'm going, right? But back to this thing with the stable coins. I was watching this. I know I saw the post and I thought to myself, I said, yo, you know what would be crazy? And this is very far-fetched, very far-fetched. I have absolutely no information that says this is a thing. It just happened to be funny in my mind. Imagine, and if you've been following this whole thing about the tariff dividends, Bassett had said like, well, we don't know exactly how we're going to give it out to the public, right? So he was like, well, it could be in like tax credit, it could be a check, and he was naming some other things. And I was like, wait, what? That's still wild, my guy. Like, you robbed Peter to pay Paul. You literally took the money in one hand and then in the other hand gave it back to me. Like, what? Because remember, the spell of tariffs aren't a tax on the consumer. It so blows my mind that like the mainstream news just really ran with him being able to say that, and then having other cabinet and department heads say the same foolery. And it's just like, yo, you just really playing in our face right now. And lo and behold, we see prices have gone up on things, especially if it came from certain regions of the world. And so you have it that like now this is on the like, oh, well, we'll give you 2K dividends. We're going to give X amount of Americans in particular, by mid 2026, we're going to give you 2K. Now, let's break down some numbers. I seen or heard something the other day that was like, if you're in a household of 4 people, on average, grocery bill is $1,000+ So you can get groceries for 2 months if you had a household of 4. That's assuming you're shopping at some variation of Walmart, which also has had prices go up, or an Aldi's or a Lido's, or whatever your region has that's comparable to those type of stores, right? Insurance on average, I think they said, or no, is the car notes are on average now like above or around $500. So if you add the insurance on top of the car note, and I'm not even talking for a new, I'm talking for a used vehicle, you're looking at nearly $1,000. You might be 8 something, you might be touching 950, 975. So you can afford to drive for 2 months. Depending on what's been going on, and I know some folks who've been furloughed since like August, before the shutdown even kicked in. So imagine you've been messed up for, at this point, what, 4 months, 4, 5 months? Assuming you had the savings, you was able to, spread some things out, cut back on some other things, depending on what kind of credit cards you have. At least for how it's being reported here in the States, folks are already delinquent in credit card stuff. And yet we're paying higher taxes at the local level. We're going to be getting nudged again at the federal level. And then you're going to tell people, I'm going to take money from you in one hand and then give it back to you in the other hand? Make that shit make sense. Make that make sense. Like, it's mind blowing. And this is, and granted, this is like bigger than crypto stuff, but I thought it would be funny if they turned around and was like, all right, so we're going to give all of the American people stable coins. You're going to get $2,000 worth of stable coins. Because remember, we still pushing this thing thanks to the Genius Act about the stable coins connected to the treasury bonds, and they got to get the mass adoption happening, or they got to get some level of adoption happening somehow. Like, how are you going to get the American public into it? Yo, everyone gets $2,000 in stable coins, but with what centralized exchange? Because you can't do it with the banks. I'm throwing out a whole wild ass theory, y'all. Whole wild ass theory. But imagine they turned around, was like, yeah, we're gonna give it to everybody as a stable coin. What? Are you serious? Where am I gonna spend that? Uh, uh, what? Like, and then how many people would even know what to do? Anywho, I'm gonna let off that one. But yeah, that was like, when I read this, I thought of that instantly, where it was like, yo, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're taking with one hand and giving with the next. But imagine if it was in a stable coin. What would the public do? What would the public do? Also seen this thing, another technical thing about how consensus ETH is like big enough that this company Din Build has officially launched an autonomous verifiable service (AVS) on Agent Cloud, marking a major step towards solving one of Web3's most pressing challenges: the centralization of infrastructure. I didn't look into it. I'm not the biggest trusting person of any of the necessarily consensus things. I don't know if this is the same consensus that's connected with Ruben, but you know, I still don't. You know what it is, y'all? Like, once you start looking at like how things outside of proof of work go, especially when you get into delegated proof of work and the other consensus mechanisms, and how the 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 centralization and how it plays out more or less through like the whale folks, it's just like, all right, well, I'm not really excited about anything that you say you come up with on a tech stack part of it, because at core, in my mind, your consensus mechanism still has issues. But that's just my thought process. Oh, well, that was the same thing I was reading before about the the foreign assets service thing. That's the same thing. It was just another what you call it that caught my attention. Uh Same, no, work for automatic order. Same thing. But under a different implementation in regards to, oh, wait, no, hold on. White House is reviewing Treasury's proposed rules for U.S. participation in the OECD's CARF in the 2022 framework, enabling automatic cross-border sharing of crypto account data to address offshore tax evasion. Yeah, it's the same thing, but through a different program, because the other one was something in 2023. So it's the same situation going. They're trying to figure out how to get the capital out of the public, and they don't care that you're not an American citizen. If you're an American citizen, it just means they have more shit to fuck with you on. If you're not an American citizen, it's not as easy of a slam dunk. Bottom line. At least that's my take on it. I could be way wrong. I seen this. So apparently we're getting back into this whole thing about like how crypto is used by criminals, and how you have all of these bad actors and all they ever want to do with crypto is just do illegal things. So this company or this platform called ICIJ basically did this whole big investigation with 38 media partners in 35 countries, and they talked to 113 journalists, and crypto's bad, and all the people in there are doing all this scamming and money laundering and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yo, where was all of this energy for TradeFi? Who remembers when what's the name of the bank that backed the ship that they picked up in Philly that had like $1 million worth of coke in it? I remember I was in Philly the day that happened, and I was like, yo, what's going on with all them cops down there by the port? Where's all of that? Where's all of this smoke and energy? Where's all of the smoke for USB-C for literally having like documented court case discovery evidence level stuff talking about how they was hand in hand with the cartels in Latin America? Where's this energy at? Where's the, all right, let's look at what fiat was doing? Nowhere to be found now. This is the let's get back on crypto. And then I seen this story right here, which basically is Americans are heating their homes with Bitcoin this winter because they're talking about using the miners to heat their homes. I don't know what miner that is, or how many are in that. Hold on. I don't even, it's a laptop. They got the power running in. That might be like, I don't even know. I don't know if that is a combination of things, but it's not new. It's not new. Like, people been doing this for how long now? You heating your home, you got the joint running in your basement. You know, you letting that, if you have more than one, you letting it run at full throttle when we get like deep into November. If you out in the mid, what granted, you might want to under throttle because your electric bill would be crazy. Your electric bill would be crazy if you let like a S19 run full throttle. But you know, these are the things happening. Lemons be lemoning. Yep, that is so true. Lemons be lemoning. Again, to that Bitfarm story, what we gonna look like in the fall of 2026 into 27. Heaven knows what gas prices are gonna look like. Heaven knows how many people are still gonna have their home. And I'll be honest, like, at least over here on the East Coast in the DMV, like I'm surprised the weather is as warm as it is. Although some days it be windy as all get out here, man. Yeah, so Bitcoin mining, and I don't know what setup this joint is right here, but you know, you don't need the new. Old stuff still generate heat too. Saw this story caught my attention again. I said this a couple episodes ago about how as we like move more into this maturity thing of the space, you'll have the political folks looking to acquire more of the crypto vote, but like there's really no crypto demographic. Because how am I saying this? In terms of ideals, the hardcore crypto folks, especially when you start talking about Bitcoin maximalist folks or Bitcoinist people, they're not on the whole like, yeah, big government pro woohoo. Unless you talking to like the more business griftery folks, the average Joe Bitcoiner is not going to be excited about the government saying, let's go have a Bitcoin reserve. But apparently, this is what someone told Nigel Farage to say in his campaign speech as he's running for prime minister in the UK. And we're going to see the same thing over here. Midterm elections, you're going to have a couple of people saying some things. When we get to 2030, it's going to be even more people saying some things. Arguably, that's assuming the stablecoin situation don't go crazy within this administration. And when I say go crazy, I mean the grifters don't get too greedy and the US doesn't full throttle resetting our economic base via the stablecoin stuff. You can go look online, and I called this out like a couple months or weeks ago, probably. It might have been a month or so at this point. When the Genius Acts first started being pushed out and got signed, that's when I brought up it's gonna be some foolery around the stablecoin thing. And this whole thing of like, let's as nation states do a Bitcoin reserve, even with the Bukele thing, like it sound good on paper, but it's like, okay, well, where do you go with this? And then because regions or nation states like ours, right, are more pro-capitalist at any cost, Wall Street has to get their blood. Well, no. Wall Street has to get their money, their dividends, their returns. Those of us who are in the stock market, you know, like we're a part of that system too. And then, of course, the government has to get its blood, aka its cut in taxes. And over in the UK, it's the same situation. Government wants it cut. They're it's not Downing Street. I forgot where it is, but that's their version of like the Wall Street stuff. They want to make they dollars too. They want to chase the bag, but they want to chase the bag and guarantee their bag before the public. All right. I guess we'll see if this man actually wins the situation. And I also wonder if any of his opposition are going to run on the same. Like, I'll do. Imagine somebody busts out talking about, well, I'll do a Solana and a Bitcoin reserve. What? Yo, how crazy is that gonna sound if somebody busts out saying, well, I'll also do this other crypto in addition to the Bitcoin reserve? Like, that's gonna be wild as fuck, y'all. Like, I mean, I can't even imagine like somebody, and arguably most of us would think Ethereum first, but imagine they said something else. Like, how serious do we take this? Or, bro, I'm laughing to myself, just like that'll be wild if someone actually said out loud, "Hey, we should have another reserve besides Bitcoin, and it should be blah blah blah." Fill in the blank. Like, oh man, I don't even know how I would take that. Like, I don't even know right now. But yeah, that's where I'm at on that one. Let's see if he wins. But I do think that there is going to be a growth in the crypto vote, even though the crypto vote is not what those of us who have been in the crypto space for a minute, is not the same thing as what the political class and the political type folks are going to like be going after and pushing as the like, we want to connect with the crypto vote. It's not going to be what we understand crypto folks to be. The ideals aren't going to match, but that's going to be interesting just to see how that foolery plays out too. So I have two takeaways tonight so far. This was the other joint about SoFi, who used to be like the major backer behind WeWorks. They're now looking to be a centralized exchange. They like this company, this financial institution, as like a backing house financially, they are such grifters. Like, Jesus, they're such grifters. And yeah, and then the other crazy, like, they just have the money to burn. Like, there's no other, and for the amount of money they burn, it's just like, because either the projects get run just into the ground, or like the market just doesn't work for them, for at least as much as I understand. And it's just like, yo, like, how is it that whoever your investor grouping is, like, they just have the money to throw out there and not care? This is wild. And then the last joint, because I'm looking at the time right now and I need to go sleep because I got to get up dumb early. You know, Gang is back open again. So yeah. I'm actually gonna listen to this at some point because I am curious as to how this was broken down. And basically, Mags, I believe I know her, but this was like a while ago. I met her a while ago. So I interviewed Matt Prusak. I might be saying his name way wrong. From the Trump-backed Bitcoin miner ABTC, and this is one of the best macro and mining conversations I've had yet. Jesus. If you read about Bitcoin mining, national security, and the strategic Bitcoin reserve, this episode's for you. Pardon. Take care, everyone. Hey man, you have a good night too, bro. Catch you up next time, man. Shout outs to my man, Only Bitcoin, aka Bitcoin Django. So yeah, for the minor folks, to the folks who are like, what the hell is going on? Like, what's going on with the states and da 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 da. It might be an interesting thing to listen to. Something that I would find interesting, just because I care about some of the techie stuff, and then it's the other part of like I have my takes on what I think is happening, or like how things might be playing out, or like where do certain dots connect. And sometimes when you be listening to these type of interviews, that's when you find out where certain dots connect. So yeah, um, is what it is, and that's what I'm gonna close out on. So yeah, as I was saying, I got two takeaways. How is it that I've been on for this long and there's literally only one like on a thumbs up? But anywho, uh, so what was it? What was it? Let me take this off real quick. Um, the crypto vote is one thing, and then the other thing was, what was the other thing? Is the Bitfarms you hilarious, my guy. Yo, you funny as hell, bro. You have a good night, man. Go finish that schoolwork. All right. So yeah, my two takeaways. I don't know which thing I end up writing about tomorrow, or if I might just try to combine these two things. But one is this thing with the bit farms, and is this an indicator for what we'll see with other crypto companies, and who would be potentially the next crypto company that will exit mining to move into the AI HPC space? Um, and then to the other point of, and I like Kings brought this up a while ago about like the whole thing with just seeing the crypto talk expand more in the political realm. And as I've said a number of times, I'm definitely anti crypto in term like any of the crypto stuff in terms of that nationalism, patriotic conversation talking points. Because again, if we're saying that crypto is supposed to be permissionless and like available to all, and we know the technology works to give access to this type of financial mechanism to anyone. Why are we even adding in nation state not propaganda, um nationalism into the mix? I just I just don't see the point of it. Like, let me rephrase that. I understand the motivation. I just don't agree with it. But I'll leave that one there. And then where am I going? Yeah, we're gonna call this a night. Again, I appreciate the folks for tapping in. So only Bitcoin, Yosef, 3D, and the lurkers, the chat bots. I appreciate all of y'all. It is a very what's the word I'm looking for? Helpful? That's not the word I'm looking for. Uh, helpful thing? It's not helpful. That is not the word I'm looking for. But nonetheless, y'all. Um, covered a couple of topics. Hopefully something I said makes sense. Hopefully something I said make you laugh. Hopefully something I said got you thinking. More importantly, are you thinking, questioning the what's going on? Like, how does it relate to where you are in your position in life and where you're trying to go? If this is the space, um, oh God, bruh. Okay, my guy Ryan. Oh man, I don't know if that's the connection that you're talking about. I did not cover that because I did not dig into what that, and it was literally like a couple of posts that I seen, but I also know he does some funny things too for how he posts. Um that might be something for another day. Cause yeah, and yeah. Now that somebody else brought this up, because at first I wasn't sure if he was just trolling. Oh, I honestly was not sure if he was just trolling. So now that I know that this is like a thing, I'm gonna have to at some point, take some time to figure out what that's all about. But yeah. So like I said, I appreciate y'all for tapping in, for engaging and all that fun stuff. Don't forget, I actually do have my own channel called Trek with 2Ks. If you could go over, give a like, sub, whatever, share. And yeah, that's what that is. And then, I'm over here on Gem of the Crypto, because this is where most of y'all know me on. I'm still trying to figure out how to push stuff over on my channel. And I'm trying to figure out some other stuff. And I'm trying to figure out some merch stuff, but that won't probably happen until next year. I don't know how it's gonna happen just yet, but I'm trying to figure that whole thing out. It's getting rough out here. Gang just shut down at any time they want to. They do the shit for more than 30 days. So I gotta find other ways to pay these bills and things. Other than that, as I say, from one human to the next, the best thing that I can wish for you is to be in a safe place and in a safe space and in good company. And so, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for y'all. And I hope the Monday didn't go too bad. I hope the weekend was even better. And hopefully y'all have a productive week. And I'll catch y'all next time. Right? Let us get out of here. 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 I'm Trek with 2Ks.